Welcome back to Marvelous Videos. I'm Rylan, and today we'll be taking a look at the Super Sons as they enter the DC animated universe. In 2007, Superman Doomsday marked the beginning of the DC Universe animated original movie series. Most recently, Green Lantern Beware My Power, starring Aldous Hodge, was released. The following DC film, Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons, is a significant one, because it is the first to use only CGI. Although it's not mentioned in the trailer, Starro the Conqueror has been revealed to be the movie's main antagonist. There are 100 reasons why this is exciting, most of which will very definitely never be shown on film. Having said that, it should be a blast and a great excuse for Damian and John to save the world. And we shall explore the journey of this young dynamic combo, Damian and John, in this video. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is just a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thanks. Now, let's begin.
John, this is Batman's son, Damian.
Well, he's obviously not invulnerable.
Exploring Batman and Superman, Battle of the Super Sons. Jor-El, Nolan North, and Lara, Myrna Velasco, deliver Kal-El, a baby, to Earth in a rocket from the destroyed planet of Krypton. They are unaware that a hazardous beast has joined them on the journey. A Krypton explosion almost causes the ship to veer off course. However, the intruder is lost when the object accelerates to high speed, but it still travels in the desired direction. The next scene is a comic book style montage showing the development of Clark Kent, played by Travis Willingham, into Superman. Following his fight against crime, he encounters Batman and the Justice League. After being married, moving to the Kent farm in Smallville, and having Jonathan, he marries Lois Lane, played by Laura Bailey. John moans about the fact that both of his parents are journalists at the beginning of the film. He thinks the job is extremely monotonous and pointless. While scrambling to find her belongings as she rushes off to work, his bumbling mother teaches him the value of journalism. Additionally, we learn that John's birthday is soon approaching. He instantly begins hunting for his birthday presents when Lois leaves for work, like most kids of his age do. Unfortunately, his dad shows up just as he is about to open the present that he found. Now, we see John and Clark be two very simple members of a farming family, playing around in the barn while moving around hay and other farm stuff. Remember John milking a cow. It'll be relevant later. Not for plot, but for comic relief. John and his father rest at the front of the barn, looking up at the stars. He asks his dad why he isn't always home. A displeased Jonathan doesn't comprehend his father's constant absence. His son is not as essential to him as his profession is. Although Clark makes an effort to comfort his heartbroken son, he must depart yet again. John gestures to what appears to be a shooting star, but it's actually the watchtower of the Justice League. After the watchtower is struck by some sort of space debris, Superman stops it from falling. Superman immediately welds the gap closed and keeps Japan safe from a tsunami. Green Arrow then begins to look into a strange noise he heard coming from inside the watchtower. A mysterious something assaults him as he approaches, and the screen goes black. As a result of Superman going to save Japan, he ends up missing his son's baseball game. To make him feel even worse, he loses the game and is obviously very dejected. Lois and Clark discuss their son and his feelings. Before Clark could even speak with him, John runs away and accidentally discovers his laser vision. Jonathan's lashing out reveals an extraordinary ability. Clark and Lois decide it's time to tell their son of his true heritage. Next, we see a clip of Jonathan flying on his father's back as he fully comes to terms with the reality of being Superman's son. The fact that he's half alien, his father being the strongest superhero in the world, and other revelation details don't seem to bother him as much as Clark anticipated. As Lois and Clark discussed, John would be taken to an old friend for a checkup to see what other powers may manifest in the child. Clearly, John is a huge fan of Batman. Next stop, Gotham City. We roll into Batman chasing down some goons alongside Penguin. John asks his dad if they should help, but if you know Batman at all, you know that he likes to work alone. Not to mention the fact that he can be pretty rough, as he proceeds to leave the bad guys not just incapacitated, but with several bones as well. As usual, Batman remains very quiet and mysterious throughout their interactions, while Penguin hangs off the side of the building, waiting to be picked up by GCPD, and John is just flabbergasted. More of this is seen when they enter the Batcave. Immediately, John runs off and starts fanboying about the Batmobile, the Batcomputer, and other memorabilia in the hideout. The information shocks Jonathan. It's a dream come true for the boy to go to the Batcave for a health evaluation. He idolizes Batman, played by Troy Baker, yet he leaves Damian Wayne with a negative first impression. The sarcastic Robin has little disregard for the redneck child of Superman. John tries his best to make jokes and be friendly to Damian, but this Robin was not gonna sing. Not gonna lie, this little farm boy has the cringiest jokes ever, so, well, we can't completely blame him. The test results are inconclusive. Batman says that it's possible that more of his powers may manifest when John faces extreme mental stress or tension. Immediately, Damian pushes John off a ledge to test that theory. Clearly, this is one insecure child. Still, Superman saves him in the nick of time, and Damian, once again, acts like a complete snob, throwing a batarang at John to test his invulnerability. As they disperse, Batman talks to Superman about the Watchtower, and how no one has been in contact since the previous day. John walks in on Damian on call with Wonder Girl, one of the members of the Teen Titans. The Titans have been called to the Watchtower, and it seems that Robin was not invited. At first, Damian calls it an oversight, and continues giving instructions for arriving at the Watchtower. However, Wonder Girl makes it abundantly clear that they did not want Robin there with them at all. The Titan was quite specific, saying that Damian is too violent and does not work well with others. Just like your usual spoiled kid, he retorts, saying he doesn't even want to be part of their stupid team anyway. John sees this as a moment where he and Damian could possibly reconcile, if they talk things out. He is interrupted, however, by a cow. Yes, Batman's son has a cow in the Batcave. After a small altercation about milking the cow, Damian walks away angrily. Then we see this hilarious scene where John thanks Batman for having them and hands him a pail of milk, leaving the Bat speechless. A signal from the Watchtower alarms Batman and Superman. There's something strange about Green Arrow, played by Tom Kenny, who summons every Justice League member for a critical meeting. And funnily enough, they both realize it at the same time, in a bit of a funny way. Superman comes home with his son and puts him to bed. Despite being a super son, he is still 11 years old. The young man is clearly very tired, and he's constantly yawning as he spoke. Clark takes Lois to the side and tells her that something strange is going on in the Watchtower. She informs him that crime in Central and South America has come to a complete stop, which may sound great on the surface. However, a mass change in human behavior in such a synchronized manner seems quite bizarre. Batman and Superman reach the Watchtower and begin searching for something out of place. Immediately, once Superman uses his X-ray vision, he immediately tells Batman to escape, but not before Martian Manhunter incapacitates them both. They have now also been taken over. 11-year-old Jonathan faces the same Smallville troubles as his father. He's a nerd who gets bullied. His failure on the baseball team reinforces dweeb status. In one such occasion, the bully picks on how John lost them the baseball game. Superboy, who is by the way wearing fake glasses as a birthday gift from his dad, and the bully get into an argument, leading John to push the bully back, discovering his super strength. It really looks like that kid flew back. Then we cut to Damian in the Batcave, who is sitting and cribbing about the Teen Titans and how they're super lame with a lame name and lame numbers, etc, etc. A mind-controlled Batman then approaches him, trying to put an alien starfish on him too. But this Robin is quick to dodge and kills the parasite. Even then, Damian thinks it's a joke his dad is pulling on him until the weird beings start emerging from inside him and latches onto his face. It really reminds you of the whole aliens and xenomorph situation. And soon, they engage in combat. Batman drops Robin down a chasm and contacts starfish-faced Superman in the Watchtower. They have infected the entire southern hemisphere. Batman leaves in the Batmobile as Robin climbs back up using a grappling hook. The entire Justice League has been taken over. Damian realizes that the only person he can count on right now is Jonathan. We then cut to Jonathan being scolded by the principal for getting into a fight with Melvin. After the scolding proceeds, John sees a ship land outside, aka the Batwing, and scurries out real quick. Damian and John have their usual bickering 11-year-old boyish greeting, while young Wayne briefs John about the situation and how they need to save the world right now. Melvin the bully shows up once again. Making sure that no one wastes any time, Damian quickly paralyzes the kid and walks away. Clearly he's learned a lot from his grandfather. Lois then shows up and asks John to come with her, but something seems off about her, and Robin immediately picks up on it. John tests his suspicion by asking her if he can play video games and eat ice cream at home. His mother agrees in an almost creepy agreeable manner, and obviously they realize that she's been taken over as well. The starfish comes out and the chase begins. The boys get into the Batwing, but not before mind-controlled Lois climbs onto it. John uses his heat vision directly in the eyes of the alien and drops his mom in a lake as they proceed to fly off. Turns out, Damien's idea of a last resort was taking John to the Fortress of Solitude, Superman's original base. Soon after entering, they are met with Crypto the Superdog, and like any guard dog, he attacks. This is when John started running for his life, and he finds out he can take ridiculously long jumps, foreshadowing his ability to fly. The boys and the dog end up reaching Jor-El's artificial intelligence. John gets a crash course on his heritage and where his father came from. There, they introduce each other and analyze a specimen of the starfish. A little brainstorming later, they decide that they need to go to the Watchtower, where it all started going wrong. Skip to Lois asking Jimmy to open his mouth. Turns out Lois is no longer controlled by the starfish. She is determined to get a message to the people about the mind-controlling starfish aliens. The only way she can do that right now is by going to the president. Meanwhile, Damien and John shoot off into space in the tiny spaceship that Kal-El had come to Earth in. They land inside unnoticed, but that doesn't last long. Mind-controlled Justice League is waiting for them. At the same time, we see that Lois has reached the Oval Office to meet with Lex Luthor, the current reigning president of the United States. He agrees to help her out, as long as she provides a personal front-page apology and help him with the next election. She resentfully agrees, and they shake hands on it. Starro finally makes his appearance, and he has the two Superboys held hostage in the Watchtower. Instead of taking over their minds, however, he commands that they be executed. Arrow fires an arrow at Damien. In a slow-motion clip, we see John jump in to save him. The usually cold Damien immediately starts grieving his farm boy friend. John giggles and shows him a bent arrowhead. Thus we discover his invulnerability. During the preceding fight, Lex Luthor makes an announcement telling the world to be taken over by Starro. No wonder, he's also been taken over as well. Apparently, Lois already knew this and was quite prepared. She used a lighter and a deodorant bottle to burn the starfish on Luthor's face. As the starfish shrieked, Lois took the opportunity to speak into the camera and tell John that heat can hurt the parasite. After an action-packed fight scene, they realize that even defeating the parasite on their face isn't enough. They must defeat the hive mind, Starro. As they start searching for him, they meet their fathers. Two separate one-on-one fights break out between father and son. In spite of how hard they try, they can't beat them. Then, John has the brilliant idea of trading partners. To do this right, they both tackle Batman and get his kryptonite ring from his utility belt. Now, the odds are just a little more even. The fight ends with John knocking out Batman with one punch. However, it's too late now. Starro has taken over every mind on Earth. The only way to save everyone is by killing them. So, they do what any superhero would do at this point: self-sacrifice. Their idea was to bring Starro down with the Watchtower. First, they send all the passed-out Justice League members back to Earth in the few ships they had left with. Damien successfully brings the satellite out of orbit, but gets caught by the giant evil starfish. Starro lose control over the little starfish around the globe, and Batman and Superman were free now. The boys sit and watch as they fall to their doom. They speak a little about how they like each other, and suddenly, Superman comes out and saves them. Fathers and sons hug it out, but right after that, Starro makes a final comeback. This time though, Superman grabs him and flings him at John. John grabs a tree, uses it like a bat, and hits him out of the planet. Damien rejects joining the Teen Titans, even though they formally invite him to do so. Melvin badmouths John at a baseball game, but this time, Damien is there to shut him up. John is blown away that his family is here to watch him play. He just gets ready and bunts the shot, and it shoots off like a bullet.
What are you doing here? Aliens are taking over the globe.
Marvelous Verdict, a movie that is more of an origin story than a typical superhero versus alien cliche, and we love it for that. The animation is excellent. The movie has a similar aesthetic to Marvel Studios. Characters and settings, created using 3D computer graphics, pay homage to vintage cartoons. Extreme realism is not emphasized, but everything is clear and distinct. Just a little bit of variation is added by the creative opening montage. Strong action moments are delivered by the filmmakers. A necessary dark element is added by the evil enemy and its unsettling minions. The evil guy has been seen before. There will undoubtedly be comparisons to the live-action film. This is the first entirely computer-generated animated film from the lengthy series of films, as you can see, and the transition seems to be going quite well. This is a new animation style for the DC flicks. The camera moves in a way that has a hint of Aeon Flux, and the character models move in a way that has a hint of Animatrix. But aside from the animation, the voice acting is fairly accurate. Jack Griffo, the Thundermans, and Jack Dylan Grazer Freddie Freeman in Shazam do a fantastic job of conveying Damian's usual cynicism and John's wide-eyed wonderment at his superhero world. As Batman, Troy Baker is a seasoned legend, and Travis Willingham provides Superman in a dignified manner. Damian Wayne and John Kent were the upcoming stars of the DC universe for a fleeting, magnificent moment in the comics. Then, John grew older and transported to space, while Damian went to Kumite Island to battle his grandmother, causing them to become separated. That's comics for you. But, oh well. In case you didn't notice, some people were saddened by the conclusion of Super Sons, the comic that followed that little Superboy and Robin as they became teenagers and was completely fantastic. But happily for them, on October 18th, Batman and Superman, Battle of the Super Sons, a brand new animated feature film, will be released on digital, Blu-ray, and other media formats, giving them a new opportunity to watch John and Damian have fun. You must consider Batman and Superman, Battle of the Super Sons to be an origin narrative. The main extraterrestrial attack plot is straightforward, and Lois basically spells it out. In this movie, Jonathan and Damian are introduced as two awkward young boys who become friends. In combat, their desperate personalities work well together. You applaud when they cooperate and overcome overwhelming obstacles. Even Crypto the Superdog found a way to make us smile. Super Sons has every element that makes a great animated film. The cast's voice acting is expertly directed, and the CG-based action is quite strong. The movie's main appeal is that it appeals to both youthful and young at heart audiences. It's the ideal entry point into the DC universe that young people miss out on, because they are more interested in manga and anime, and believe that superhero farce is something for adults to enjoy. They can already appreciate it, as known as Batman vs. Superman, Battle of the Super Sons. Enjoy it whether you're alone, with a friend, or with a child, and you'll have a great time. That's it for today's episode of Marvelous Videos. If you enjoyed our content, then please leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Until next time, have a good one and be safe.
All right, Justice Dweebs, let's do this thing.